Alrighty. It is Doc from North America. TGIM. Let's see, how else can we express it? 3-day holiday. In the States here, we're pretty much closed. There's only thing trading in the States is the currencies, the bonds, and the stock indices. Everything else is pretty much closed. It's very quiet. I think they resolved the debt ceiling. It's so hard to tell what goes on at this point. So what we'll do is we'll wait and see what they vote on in the end. And that's how Doc always pays attention to politics throughout my whole life. I look how they vote, not what they say. And that's what the problem is that I've seen headlines back and forth. McCarthy savaged over debt ceiling, brilliant over debt ceiling, blah, blah, blah. It goes in all kinds of directions. And the end result is, it's how they vote in the end. That's what it really comes down to, how they vote in the end. And so at this point in time, we'll go see, we'll see what they do and see how they play, at this point. And I think there's going to be a vote on Wednesday or something like that. That's what it sounds like. And then we'll know. Now, what I read doesn't sound too bad. Obviously, we didn't get what we would like, enormously less spending, but they are cutting spending more than anybody else has been doing since, I don't know, I saw some stat where it's like, 30 years or something like that. So, we will go and we will see, as I always try to remind the average individual who tries to pay attention to politics, do not listen. Hey, Mountain, how you doing? Hey, Janos. Hey, George. Do not listen on what they say. Only pay attention to what they actually vote on. Okay? That's the best way to describe it overall. And that's the way, that's the only way I can understand politics is how you vote in the end. I've seen politicians tell me, oh, yes, I support this. I love this. And I'm right behind it. For years, they would say subjects like that, and then they finally get a chance to vote on it, and they vote no. So it's like, don't pay attention. I'm going to repeat it like for a third and a fourth and probably a fifth time. Do not pay attention to what they say. Only pay attention to how they vote on a subject, whatever it is. So, and I tell people that all the time. They try to tell me, oh, my God, they're great. They believe this and they believe that. And I go, yeah, but their voting record is like number 20, is like in the 27th percentile on the subject. Oh, no, it can't be. They're always supporting it. And I go, yeah, they might say it, but they don't vote it. Well, that doesn't mean anything. I love that, too. The people always, that's the next default they always say to me. That doesn't mean anything. I go, what do you mean it doesn't mean anything? It'd be like saying, I'm going to pay you $1,000, and then you only give me $200, and you're wondering where the other $800 is, and are you happy about that? It doesn't mean a thing? And they go, oh, no, that means a lot. I said, well, then votes are pay. And they go, really? I go, yes. If they don't vote yes on a subject they've talked about all these years, or all these months, or all these days, then it means nothing. Well, can't they be sued? It's amazing how people think. So, yep. How they vote. Exactly, Mountain. I'm going to go for my sip of tea on that one. How they vote is the whole shebang. Not what they say. Not how nice they smile. Not how mean they can be to the supposed bad people. But how they vote. So, to me, I saw a couple things over the last, I want to say 72 hours since last Friday. I've seen things, around midnight, it was like, oh, they got a deal that looks like it's going to be inked, in other words, written down. And then I saw on Saturday morning, I saw something that said, it looks like they came up with a deal. It should get passed by about 85-90% of the Republicans. And then I see a headline last 24 hours, savaged. They've been savaged. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I have not seen anything in Turkey I have not seen, and I haven't looked either. The currency, you can see it up there. I have it up. The currency is lifting up this morning. My question, here's a good one, Janos. Oh, I have my tablets in the other room. Let me go get the tablet. I'll be back in 12 seconds. Here I am. I'm back. Let's go see my tablet. I left my tablet in there. Wasn't thinking because, it's kind of quiet. Oh, there it is. Yana says, we got U.S. closed. You can have fun with Turkey. Yeah, I was expecting them to win. That's the way I was looking at it. That's exactly the way I was looking at it. I figured that the numbers I saw said that he was going to win on Friday. They were looking at Istanbul and the other one, Constantinople and so forth, right around that area. He has big support. In the countryside, supposedly no small support. But I understand the election numbers were coming out on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, showed that he showed overall that the people didn't come out. You can have it as your topic all day. Oh, wow, this sounds interesting. You have talked on the lira for quite a while. Well, this does sound really good, Giannis. I wish I had looked at the tablet because the markets were closed today. I wasn't looking at the markets on it. I sent this today at All Traders, Dookie. Turkish lira has reached a record low level against, currencies. Exactly. Yeah, I'll tell you, I should have looked at my tablet. I'm sorry. I always look at my tablet, but with the markets closed, I didn't look at it. Yeah. Sorry about that, Giannis. I've been out fooling around with the farm. I've been doing farming. And as soon as I get done the webinar, I'm going back out there again to work on the plants. Oh, there it is. So Turkish lira has reached, dropped. Currency was caused by, recap. Erdogan, as the country's president, has extended his rule in Turkey. Yeah, that's what I figured, for a third decade, exactly. In general, the election of the current head of the state signals to the markets that no major economic reforms will take place. That's exactly what I was expecting. The country has been plagued by boom and bust cycles and rampant inflation, more than 90%. Yeah, that inflation is tenacious, isn't it? My God. Lira has lost 7%. See, the economy is set to remain in the biggest challenge of its country's government. This was sent to everyone. I love it. That's exactly as you say. We've talked about this. We've seen this. And I just happened today, because I was doing farming and all, I just had left the tablet. I didn't think, well, the markets are closed. I don't have to worry about it. And I should have gone to the tablet. Thank you. And I'm sorry I didn't respond. I am sorry. Definitely sorry. I understood that the polls showed that people were frustrated in the sense of they didn't come out and vote. That's what I heard. That was Sunday. Yesterday, like around, I guess it was like 10 o'clock in the morning here in the States. So it had to be like 4 in the evening or 5 in the evening in Turkey, or 6 in the evening in Turkey. So they said that they showed that a lot of people didn't come to vote. Or, just didn't come back again. In other words, they voted once, that was enough, it didn't work, they figured, the hell with it. I mean, that's classic for the voters, honestly. As I say, count the votes, not what the politician says. And in this case here, I guess after how upside down it was 2 weeks ago, it turned off a lot of people not to come out. In other words, it's very easy to frustrate voters. People don't even like voting, I don't think, on some level. I mean, the majority of people, I swear, don't care to vote. They vote because they are forced to vote more than they want to vote. I mean, you have a good 40, anywhere from 60 down to about 30 that will vote at any given time. Okay? And it's a cycle thing. So in other words, like every 4 years or 5 years, all of a sudden you have 60-some-odd% come out. And then as it diminishes down in the cycle, you can like the mayor of New York City, like the de Blasio, the Sandinista that ran the government for 8 years and just left. He won on something like 27% of the vote. That's all it was. I mean, everybody complains. People complain, but they don't really. That's all they do is complain. I mean, that's it. They just complain. The actual number of voters coming out takes a lot of work to motivate voters to come out. Our presidential elections, we get 65% of the vote. That's it. 35% of the people in the country don't vote. It's fine with me. I mean, I don't. I'm not crazy about it either way. And I'm a political hack. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me that the vote count was lower. To the point where I'm not even seeing anything here in the States, whereas at least last time it made some sense. He must have won by probably 55% or something like that. So in other words, they're all probably perplexed how he could almost not get majority and then get majority. Let me check what I have here. Turkey election. Let's see. Turkish election victory for Erdogan leaves nation divided. Yeah, what else is new? Okay, live update. So let's see with round 2. Let's see what the numbers look like. It wouldn't surprise me if he won by 54, 55 to 40 something. That would not surprise me at all. I'm not seeing. It's amazing. You try to get data. The simplest things like. How much did he win by? And it turns into a chaos here. Reagan arrived at the presidential palace. Mrs. Crowd supports. Let's see. More world leaders congratulate him. They can't even tell you the simplest thing like how much he won by. It's amazing. The media in the world right now has lost their ability to literally do the job. How often? Let's see. Erdogan wins Turkish election, extending rule. Let's see. 52%. There you go. Sunday showed Erdogan winning with 52.14%, with 99% in, and the other guy was 47.86. Yeah, I had a feeling it would be around 55 or something like that. It doesn't surprise me at all. So it was almost 53%. So I was about 2 percentage points off. That makes sense, and you have to wonder. You really not you, me, or but I mean, I always look at it. Yeah, they go ahead and ask, what would you like to know from Doc? Excellent. Let's see, Mountain. I am sacrificing a lot today because Novak Djokovic is playing right now in Paris. Really? Is this the Paris Open? Hey, at least they didn't force him to get that stupid needle in the arm. I liked it when the governor of Florida said, "Yeah, just take a boat over and we'll let you. I'll come pick you up at the beach." What an insanity! All right, so let's go through the magical tour here. Let's see what. And as you can see here, the natural gas is around the 26 area. That's cool. That was the last thing I looked at. Let's check out the dollar index. There's the dollar index trading at 104 and change, still heading up. You see the green is 89 and the yellow is 92, so it's starting to try to roll over. Let's see. I don't know if they're even they should be trading that future here. Let's see if we can get that over here on the Chicago Quant. Do you actually listen to them? I mean, you could listen to since the markets are relatively closed. Okay, look at that. We're flirting with the daily sell right now. Huh. See it right there? But it is kind of dead. It's actually up for the day, but it's flirting with the daily sell. But look, it's in the weekly. So it's not really exactly pushing against it. I don't think there's until they vote on the budget deficit. And I'm not expecting an explosion. I just think that the markets are going to be sideways to firm. What would you like to know about Doc? That me crazy? This is all in my head. Okay, now there's the dollar index on both screens, and it's just like I said, it until they vote, it shouldn't. We should finally start to see some action in the market in a sense of direction. Saw something interesting this morning. on the VIX index, Janos. It's actually starting to show like it wants to go into a buy. And it just went into the daily sell on Friday. Interesting. Interesting. I never doubt the math. So, in other words, every time, oh, that's ridiculous. It must be a bad tick. It's right on the edge of going into the weekly buy. I'll show it to you on the screen. Waking up and having coffee. I've been up since, I guess I've been up since about 10 o'clock your time in the morning. I got up around 4. I did reading, and as soon as the sun comes up around 5 now, so I was out there working on the field, working on the plants, that type of thing. I got a lot more plants to put in the ground. Let me go find it. Check out this. I'm just going to throw you the picture of it. I'm not going to go to the chart. Where's it at? VIX. There it is. Check this out. Look at that. Look at that action right there. See it right there? It's trying to turn up. I'm like, what happened there? Matter of fact, let's take a look at it on J4X, the VIX. VIX. Where's the VIX at on this thing? Boon. Vol. That must be it, the volatility right there. So there's the daily. Doing the same thing as us. We're heading down. See that action right there? That's heading down. This is heading down. This is at 53. This is trading at 34. And then let's go to the weekly bar. See what the weekly looks like. There's the weekly. And you can see here it's at 40. And you can see the green is at 42. 44? No, 42. So it's just above it. So we're seeing that both my work and the weekly here is trying to tell you there's some strength coming in. And, this thing's been trapped in the teens. It's going to be interesting. Mountain time. I like that. Yeah, Janos is in Europa. He's in Latvia. Right next to Finland and Lithuania. Out that way. Bordering Ruskies. He borders the Ruskies. Yeah, look at that. I'm wondering what that's all about. When I saw that, I thought, what is that? Are we really going to get a bump? That'd be interesting. I mean, if volatility starts to lift, what's that tell us about the markets? It's going to be, we'll see. It's the holiday. It's a 3-day holiday. Things are quiet. It may not mean anything at all. Yeah. We'll see how it plays out. But I thought that was curious when I saw that. And it could be just a 3-day holiday. In other words, the quote is probably flat, but it does caught my eye. Let's put it that way. It's well worth paying attention to. Everybody always says, look at the VIX, look at the VIX. And I keep on saying the VIX doesn't mean anything anymore. Well, here's all of a sudden, the VIX is doing something that is abnormal from the way it's been acting for like the last couple of years. So let's see what that means. See if it's just a glitch. Let's see. Open U.S. markets for me are 6:30 to 23. Right, exactly. Like it is the last part of the day and not mid. Yeah, right. Yeah, and for us, when the New York Stock Exchange opens up at 9:30 in the morning, London is got about 2 hours of trading, an hour and a half of what you would call like floor trading, and a half hour of electronic trading. So, and I guess some people might say, what does that mean? It means the amount of margin. When you execute what is officially during the normal trading day, your margin is lower. When you execute orders in the aftermarket, the margins are higher. And so it comes down to leverage. Mountain says, if the VIX is coming into a buy, then the yen goes into a buy, which we are seeing across many of those pairs right now. So pay attention to this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's go check out the yen. The yen busted through the 140 on Friday. Where is it at? And I'm not going to say I'm disappointed, but I am. I mean, in other words, I thought that after the Swiss situation, I thought they had it all straightened out. And it doesn't seem like it at all. Um, which is, again, that's a surprise to me. Yeah, look at that. Now, okay, now this morning, is that this morning? Yeah, that's today. So they're bringing it back a little bit, but they took it through the 140 area there on Friday. And you can see we've been in a buy since down in here, and we've been in a weekly buy all the way back in here, and that fast has been in a buy all the way back in the low 30s. It's like 31, 32. So the fast jumped into it in the 32-ish area, I guess 31 and a half, 32. And the slow joined in the 34 area. And here we are now in the 40 area. So, yeah, I agree with you. I always think, that, and I kind of mention it here, that the Japanese yen can go walkabout. It can go Australian on us. It can it'll break away from everybody at times. That's because it's a really independent economy. I would have to say, I think the Japanese economy is the third largest in the world. I think that's how it plays. So in other words, you got the European Union overall is the second largest economy in the world as a combination of things. And then I think that the Japanese yen represents the third largest economy. And then from there it's Great Britain, and then from Great Britain, and I guess Germany, you could pull Germany out of the European Union in a sense and try to fit it in there. It's probably in the 4 or 5 area. And then like the Chinese economy, somewhere around 6 or 7, something like that. But there's no doubt about it, the yen is representing a very large chunk of the world economy. Yeah, exactly. I know. I don't. That's because they have a fixed currency. If their currency floated, it would probably be like India. Enormous amount of population, decent GDP, and it'd be in the top 10. That's the way I see it. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't. I would think that the Chinese economy, in some ways, because remember, we finance the Chinese. They're like a colony of America. I know it's a strange thing to say, but when you really look at a colony, let's see, GDP, and the United States is 21 trillion, and China's is 14. Yeah, you can't count China's GDP as 14 trillion because it doesn't have a currency. If it had a currency, then we could get a good fixed price of it. It's like trying to figure the Soviet Union's GDP, with 4 rubles to the dollar. Then the next thing you know, the ruble's trading at 9 or 10 or 11, And now look at the ruble, 70 something, So China GDP is second in the world. Yeah, only because it's measured in yuan. If it wasn't measured in a fixed unit, at least the Japanese, see, all the other currencies are floating. They all float. But the problem is that the Chinese yuan, or NIMBY, or whatever they want to call it, is not floating. So in other words, they have it priced at 7, right? Let's put it up on the screen. We rarely look at it because it doesn't trade. I mean, it only trades 2 or 3% a day in world markets. It's almost 4, and you know what? Most of that gets converted. People who trade the yuan take the yuan and then convert it into gold. They squeeze gold out of it. And so it's not like you seen what the Saudis have been doing. The Saudis have been selling oil to the Chinese in their currency, and then what they do is they convert it in Shanghai into gold or silver. And bring it back. So they're not even willing to take the currency and put it in a vault somewhere. They don't care for it. They know that one day the thing's going to go like the ruble. It's going to be like 15 to 1. It's going to be 23. I think it's personally just a wild guess after when I look at the bankruptcies. In other words, when you look at the infrastructure of China and you look at the bankruptcies they do, okay? and the amount of money they let a bankruptcy occur at. So in other words, like Evergrande, it would have taken something ridiculous like $55 million to not allow it to go bankrupt. That's it, $55 million, not $55 billion, not like $5 trillion, $55 million. They just allowed another big company go bankrupt for $23 million. The government bailed out all the domestic investors, in other words, the Chinese, and then allowed the foreign investors to lose money. What would it cost them to stop it from going bankrupt? $23 million. I posted it here like 5 days ago. I showed it. There's no way in the world they have a what does Giannis say it is? Or what Giannis says that they have a what did the Chinese say they have? Let me see, where's it at? 14.7 trillion. They don't have a 14.7 trillion economy. You know why? They wouldn't let things go bankrupt for $23 million. They wouldn't let things go bankrupt for $55 million. Their largest real estate corporation, Evergrande, they allowed it, and people are, matter of fact, not only did they allow it for just a simple $55 million. You have 14.7 trillion as an economy. You're going to let a major corporation go bankrupt internationally for $55 million? That's chump change. You should just that's not even a rounding number. I don't even consider that a rounding number on 14.7 trillion. 55 million is not even a penny. It's a tenth of a penny. I remember I did a calculation of it one time on the Evergrande. It's not even 1 penny on the dollar. It's like 1/10 of 1 penny, or it was 100th of a penny. How did they let those things go bankrupt? In other words, that's evidence that they are not a $14.7 trillion economy. They wouldn't let it happen. If they had 14 trillion really, they wouldn't, in an economy, they wouldn't let something go bankrupt for $55 million. And they even started taking, I understand the foreign corporations that went bankrupt with Evergrande, I understand they're taking control of like buildings in Hong Kong that are still part of the international scene. In other words, they just, and the world court said, yeah, it's your property. And Chinese government can't have it. And so that's why I say that, Yeah, exactly. It does. It sounds like the USSR. Let's see. Mountain says, let me see what I'm missing here. Oh, Mountain says, China GDP is second in the world. Japan is third. Yeah, I figured China is probably 6, 7, or 8 or something like that, really. Mountain West measured it in yuan. Oh, okay. Yeah, never thought of it that way. Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. That's why. I put up on the webinar weeks ago when they did the what the Saudis said, and I put that up there a couple of months ago. The Saudis said we're willing to sell our oil to anybody's currency. It's like, yeah, of course they are, but they're still pricing it in dollars, and they also the sheikh or whoever it was that the minister of energy or the oil market in Saudi Arabia said, but we'll still price it the way we price it now. That's the way he said it. So then the Chinese come out all excited, telling the world, oh, they're going to sell us oil, or we can pay oil in yuan. It's like, yeah, of course. So what happens? No more than like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, I showed you. They bought oil in yuan. The Saudi Arabians took the yuan as the currency in transfer, and they figured it out probably, again, through the dollar. Okay, so the dollar's not being discarded. And then what they did is they went to the Singapore exchange, which has been open since like 2002 or 3, and converted the yuan into gold and moved it out of the country. I bet the Chinese were real happy about that. Oh, yeah. I'm sure that in the end result, they ended up paying gold for oil. That's what they did in the end. You got to figure it, because if it doesn't stay domestic and it goes out the door in gold, then in the end result, China really paid gold for oil. It didn't pay yuan for oil. And then Robin sent that thing over a couple of days ago that showed that the Saudis did it again. They converted oil into yuan, went to Singapore, converted the yuan into silver, and it left the country. So, there's no way in the world it's a $15 trillion economy, because you don't as a $15 trillion economy, why would you care about $23 million? You'd pay it. I mean, you're so supposedly trying to be international. You want to be the world reserve currency. So why do you let companies for 23 million or 55 million go bankrupt so that the foreign investors can? How can you in other words, you're letting foreign investors lose money and go out of business, and you're bailing out, a few $billion for the domestic market at the same time for the Chinese, and you want to be the world reserve currency at the same time? Well, obviously you flunked that class. Yeah, exactly. Okay, now let me read the tape again. Sounds like the USSR. Mountain says CCP can let a real estate company go bankrupt for reasons that we are not aware of. Don't forget, there are other things at play sometimes we are not aware of. Look, they're owed money. The Chinese government was backing the bonds. They let it go bankrupt. That's it. I mean, it's like paying attention to votes in politics. Yeah, same stuff. Fixed currency exchange rate, ban on free currency exchange. Exactly. The Soviets put people in prison for trading outside currency on the black market. Exactly. Sounds like what I expect. Yeah, that's exactly it. So there's no reason to believe that China is anything more than a colony of the United States. And I know it sounds odd when I say that, but I'm dead serious. They have $1 trillion or so in reserve, and it's only because we buy things from them. Yeah, but with all this, how can one trader profit from it? One thing is for sure, don't invest in China. The China is it's what we used to call the cockroach hotel. You can get in, but you can't get out. Oh, yeah. Only because the world is bankrupt. That's the only reason why the dollar stays strong and America's strong. It's like what the Japanese said right at the beginning of World War II when they bombed Pearl Harbor. The leading general who was commanding the army said, now we have woken a sleeping giant. And America doesn't need the world. The world needs America at this point because it's so capitalist, America, even with our socialists in control at the moment, that our economy, is the engine to the world economy. That's why we fought so hard as traders. I remember we started trading a euro unit back in 1982. We were really hot on the idea, we needed a second major currency in the world. And we were hoping that the European, would create the European Union and create a European unit with the French franc and the Italian lira and the German Deutschmark and the British pound, and we were hoping that they'd put all the strong currencies together, the Swiss saltine, the whole bit. We were hoping for that, and they did in the end. But the problem is that growth is diminished dramatically in Europe, so it's not growing. The Brussels controls the continent now. Yeah, exactly. And the euro is, way more a player. It's not, well, look at the dollar index. 54% of the dollar index is the euro. Let's see, but when Saddam wanted to start changing euros for his oil, hey, I had no problem with that. You know what the problem was? The instability, I guess, liquidity-wise. It wasn't us traders in the United States, us Wall Streeters, the ones that really, were fundamentalist in the sense of, earnings, growth, inflation, CPI, PPI. It's the old stuff that we all followed. Janos, that was where we were. We wanted a competing currency so that it'd keep us sharp. What did Christians say? Something about steel sharpens steel or something like that? Basically, we wanted a competing currency to make us competitive. And when you allow simple little not simple little major companies in your country to default on debt, it's not like Argentina, like when they do it, it's billions. I mean, can you imagine? China has allowed companies to default on $23 million and $55 million. Small numbers. If you're a $15 trillion economy, you don't do that. That doesn't make any sense. None. Zero. Especially when you got a hot nut. In other words, you're excited about the idea of becoming the world reserve currency, and you tell everybody this every other day that you want to be the world reserve currency. Well, you want to be the world reserve currency? Start backing the foreign investors. Let the foreign investors pull their money out of the country when they want to. Also, how about having a currency that floats, not fixed? What was the classic? I was talking about this. The classic example of how worthless the Chinese yuan is until, what was it? Until March or May. I guess it was May or April. April or May of 22. The currency didn't move, right? We saw inflation kick up in the United States. Joe Biden took over, and within the first quarter, we saw inflation jump to like 3.5%. And everybody kept on saying, oh, no, it's transitory. Don't worry about it. And then the second quarter came, or the third quarter came around, and it was up to around 4.5, 5 going into July. Don't worry about it. Everybody's currencies were starting to move. You could see them adjusting for the inflation. I talked about it in the webinars. What did the Chinese yuan do? Nothing. It didn't move. Did not move. So it's not a currency. Okay? The fourth quarter comes along. Does not move. Everybody else is now making new highs and new lows. The first quarter of 2022 does not move. Right? The yuan sits dead there. Then finally, going into March and April, you can see it on the charts. I've shown this, what I'm saying out loud, on the charts. And then you go into March and April when Mrs. Yellen, in 22 now, a year and a half later, says, oh, it's not necessarily transitory. I think we have inflation. What happens? Literally in a matter of days, not even hours, they start to jack the yuan up. They start to move it, adjusted to inflation. So it's not even a currency. Let's see. He suddenly found himself with invisible weapons of mass destruction. No, they had them. They found yellow cake. They found chemical weapons. They found all that stuff. It was documented in the Wall Street Journal. It's there. I don't know why people say they didn't find them. They found the aluminum tubes. They found it all. It was all there. Was it? What's the best way to describe it in military terms? Was it battle ready? No. They were just flirting with it. Oh, he used chemical weapons. Remember Chemical Ali? They were chemicaling people. They chemicaled the Iranians. They were chemicaling other people. They were using chemical weapons and so forth. But they did have aluminum tubes. They did have yellow cake. They were getting there, but they were. Remember, the Israelis bombed them. They wiped out their nuclear program in '93, was it? Or no, I think Reagan was president. It might have been in the '80s. Let's see. He suddenly found himself with invisible weapons. It's Trump's fault. It's always Trump's fault. When in doubt, blame Trump. That was his slogan for the first year. Yeah. Then it's COVID. Oh, you're talking about Biden. No, I'm talking about the idea of how does a country, any country, that has, $5 or $6 trillion of economy, or even $3 trillion of economy, let foreign investors go under for $23 million. Really? I mean, someone has to explain that one to me. That means they don't have the equity. Because if they want to be world reserve currency, they want to be a legitimate player on the international stage, you don't let major corporations in your country default on foreign investors for such little money. He had that stuff in the 90s afterwards. Yeah, UN stated in early 2000s that he no longer has the capability for them. Maybe some leftover stuff. That's pretty much what it came down to. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was a bunch of mess. I saw two different facilities that had the materials. They just, they weren't battle ready. They weren't even remotely, staging to be, combat, used. Not even close. But the thing is that Chemical Ali was chemicaling a lot of people, and so, and the Saudis were nervous about Kuwait, right? So we had to do all that stuff for Kuwait. So they made up the story about the babies and the incubators and all that other stuff, and trying to keep the Saudis comfortable. I'm eating popcorn. I'm treating today like it's fun. And sipping my tea. So yeah, that's pretty much the action of the marketplace when it comes to China. And how do you make money? Don't invest there. What's it from the Karate Kid? You ever see that movie, The Karate Kid? And the kid asks Mr. Miyagi, about how do you stop from getting hit? He says, "Don't be there." So it's like Mr. Miyagi, don't be there. So if you want to make money in China, don't be there. You'll make money. Take the same money and put it somewhere else, and you'll make money. That's what the answer is. Don't be there. Mr. Miyagi says it all. Alrighty, where are we at in here? Look at this. I put up the Chinese. The Canadian. I put the Canadian up on that triangle. The last couple of days, it's really broken out of there. Usually, when the Canadian goes up in value, the currency goes down. Let's see. Dookie offer a China stock. Does it really? Yeah, I'd love to. What's the symbol on it? Is it in yuan? At least we know we can say that it's fixed, and we can understand the price tag of it. What's the symbol? Throw it up on the screen with the symbol is, and I'll look it up. CHI. Okay. CHI. Dot. Let's see. CHI. Dot. IDX. Dot. IDX. There it is. Yeah, I look at one of those ETFs, I would imagine this will show that they're still about 40% off of all-time highs or something like that. I think they set all-time highs in their stock market back in, I guess it would be 2004 or 5, something like that, 2006. Let's go take a look at it. Let's put it up on the whole screen. And let's put it into a weekly fashion here. Or a monthly. Actually, let's go to a monthly. So there's 2021. It's trading, what is that? About 43%. It's about 44% underneath that. And then I used to look at the FXI. I think it's the FXI. Let's see if we can get it up on my screen. The FXI is a Chinese ETF, like the spiders and the Qs and all that stuff is. Let's see. Let me go open this up. Let's see. Day, week, 3. Which one's that? That's corn. I'm going to close that. The commodities are totally closed. There's no commodity trading in the States right now on that. I bet gold is trading, of course. Open workspace. There. Let's put the FXI in. Okay, so there's that NVDA too. Are they quoting it today? No, they're not giving a quote on. They're not even giving quotes on stocks. I'm sure there's a market somewhere on something. There's the Amgen. We'll put it in the Amgen spot. Boy, Amgen's been in a long glide down. See that there, Giannis? Been in a weekly sell since like right here in the 240 area. And let's see. I'll find. I'll put it in UNG. That's the natural gas one. FXI is the one I usually pay attention to years ago when trying to figure out what they were doing over there. There it is there. Arca or Smart? Let's go with Smart. Ooh, what did I do wrong there? FXI. I'm not sure why the weekly's not getting filled in, but I'm sure that'll get figured out sooner or later. Let's see if I can get something up on the screen where we can go back and look at it and get a flavor of the highs and all like that. Let's do this. Dukascopy's got it going back to 2017. Let's see. Where am I at here? Let's go with this. Go like that. Cancel that. And let's put FXI on there. FXI. Yeah, there we are. And then it just wants to give me 5 years. I guess I have to hide. I want to go monthly. I want to go month to month. Interval. Let's see if it'll do it that way. Month. Oh, here you go. Got something here. I can do it as 1 year too. Let's see what this does. Yeah, here we go. We got it. There we go. It shows you. Here you are. Right there. Let me see my wideness a little bit. Ooh. See that? The all-time high is, what's that, 70,000 something? 73,018, 107? So yeah, 73,000. See the box there on the left? Oh, you can't see it. Wait a second. There it is. Let's do this. So there's the, back in 2007, it was at all-time highs. And you can see now it's trading. Yeah, see it's trading at 26,830, and so it's 66% off from all-time highs. Yeah, so I go with Mr. Minagi. How not to make money in China, or how to make money in China? Don't be there. I mean, you could look at this and go, oh wow, you know, you're bottom fishing. It's not bad. I mean, you could look at the Nikkei. The Nikkei's up to 30,000. The all-time high in that is 39,000. At least that has a currency. So you know, you got currency translations going on and so forth and so on, and you know, it's a little bit different because it's an actual floating currency, and you can get your money out when you put it in. You know, it's not the cockroach hotel. China is the cockroach hotel. You can get in, but you can't get out. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that amazing? The all-time high was up in the 73s. You can see in 2005 it's basically trading where it was in 2000, well, you know, 2004, 2005, 2006. It bottomed there too in 2008, and it's been a good bottom in there. It's done it a couple times. The COVID did that stuff too, I guess. There it is there. You know, drove it down to that same area. It was impressive that they got up to 55,000. When was that? That was, you know, I guess when Joe Biden, Joe Biden has been the best president for China ever. He loved China. He loves them. Love, love, love. And you can see during the Obama years too. Same thing here. It goes up and takes out these, you know, it hits these tops, makes new highs, and then it finds ways to start making new lows. Looks like they took out these lows here even. So there's the China market. Again, take the Minagi point of view. How do you make money in China? Don't be there. All right. Where are we at now? We were looking at Canadian. Let's go over and see cable. Let's do cable. Did we even look at euro? Let's see what euro's doing. There's a euro. Euro is in a drift. You know, it's down in that sevens like we were looking for. It's been a daily sell for a while, going on a fourth week in a sell. It's come down from the 110 area. We went into the sell in the 110 and a half, something like that area. on a daily. The weekly, the fast just started to join in really quick up in the 109 and a half, 110 area. And the slow got into the weekly sell on 109 and a quarter, 109 and a half area. And, here we are down at the 107s. So the euro is really having an issue with the whole situation. Let's see. There it is right there. Let's put the euro up on J4X. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to have to quote Mr. Minagi again. Don't be there. So, there. You can see here, there's the euro. It's starting to fill in. Does anybody like the Karate Kid analogies? What's up with this? Oh, it's a monthly. That's why. Okay. Let's go to the daily. There we are. Down, down, down she goes. Where she stops, only the shadow knows. I watched just the first movie. Yeah, that's the only one I like, really. I think that when he says "don't be there," I think that has more to do with. Might be the second movie. I'm not sure, but it's very good. Don't be there. How do you not get beat up? Don't be there. There's a couple of black belts I mentor, and one of them put a picture up. He's a third degree, and he was taking hits with a stick. And I quote a couple of days ago, and I put a quote up on there and said, "Ouch, don't be there." Not like, oh, you can be a tough guy and take the hits. Instead, don't get hit to begin with. Don't treasure being hit. All right, and then from there, let's go to the cable. And there's Gobble Gobble Cable. And you see the cable's doing the same thing, it's driving down. Where's my lines? Where'd my lines go? What's up with this? Where's my lines go? Where's that button that shows where my lines are? Why can't I see my lines? How did I lose my lines? Alright, let's go back into here. Recent indicators. There we go. Recent indicator. No. There. Come on. Let's see. Let's fix this. Oh, I'll go like that. There we are. And then the other one. So that's the fast. Let's put the slow in there. There we go. Okay. Don't be there. He got me hooked on that now. Season 2 went bad. Oh, you're talking about the Karate Kid on Netflix, or no, on I think it's on YouTube. Let's see. I watched the movie, and then Cobra Kai. Yeah, I love Cobra Kai. It got slow. It's kind of it's not the best, but I didn't watch the last season all the way through. It was a little too tough to put up with. But I will. I like Cobra Kai. I like how the evil turns to good. All right, so there you can see the that's a Chicago quant. All right, so from there you can see the same thing on cable, trading at 17, and down at the bottom the yellow is trading at, what is that? Let's make that bigger so you can see it. 16. So it's trying to lift up a little bit. We're seeing a little pop in it. Let's put it up over on Chicago quant. There's cable right there. It's trying. It's firm. It's a dead day. And we went into the weekly sell last week too. Let's see. Yeah. You are always the villain in someone's story and the hero in yours. Yes. I like that. That's a good philosophy. It sounds like something that you would project. in other words, that's totally logical. I agree with you. All right, then from there, we slide over to we saw the Canadian getting beat up. Let's look at the Swiss. There's the Swiss. It's moving down a little bit. It's gaining against the dollar right there, but it's still in that weekly buy. So the pressure's on there. We're really in an odd situation with all these currency pairs. They don't seem to be backing away from anything. Like the yen there. You can see the yen. It's backing off a little bit today, but it's cleanly still in the weekly buy and the daily buy and the whole bit. There's a lot of strength there. And then when we go to, where is it from there? We go to the Turkish lira, is it? Yeah, we go Turkish lira. It's starting to climb up again. But you know what? I was saying last couple of weeks, we need to watch to see what the liquidity's like. In other words, it seemed like the country lost liquidity going back about... You know what they did? They did what China does. They went back on their word. Right? So, Aragon says, okay, we're going to give you free puts when you buy our currency. And I'm like all excited. Remember, Giannis? I'm excited. Free puts. Hell yeah. So that made sense to me instead of spending all that money out of the foreign reserves and all that other stuff. Just give free puts out. You could basically tax the population on it in the end result. It's not a big, tough tax because it's a benefit. Because if you're making your currency sit still and you tax people a little bit because of it, or corporations, they will go with that solely because you're giving them free puts. They're protected on their currency. They don't have to worry about currency translation. But something went wrong. They said it, but then they didn't back it. And ever since they didn't back it, we've seen this currency just lose liquidity. Look at these trades that go on in it. And this is the euro one. I mean, the dollar one, it looks 3 times worse. There's no liquidity anymore. He has beaten the confidence. He has beaten the confidence out of any corporation that deals with Turkey. So, and that's what the problem is. So, at this point, it's just going to stumble around with. They lost credibility when they promised to cover losses. Once they did that, they should have never promised it. If they had not promised it, people would still be trading it. And now the liquidity has dried up because they don't trust it at all. You are always the villain. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, all right. So there it is there. Okay. Now, we go over to Canadian. No, I know it is. The reason why we look at the King peso is because the peso is going to be in, supposedly the president of Mexico claims that they're putting the peso into the brick. Well, if it becomes a brick, it's the most powerful brick of all. So in other words, if you're trying to make a brick index like we have a dollar index, then what will happen is it'll be made up of about 53% of the Mexican peso. And then the other like 20 some odd percent will be the South African rand and the Indian rupee. So 75 to 80% of that index will be maybe even more, like 80, 82% of it will be those 3 currencies. Just like when you look at the dollar index, 53% is the euro, something like 17% is the yen, and something like 12 or 15%, I think it's 12%, is the British pound. So like almost 80% of the index is literally those 3 currencies for the dollar index. And if we're going to have a brick, you got to have an index. And if you're going to have an index, you got to have a legitimate index, or no one's going to trade it. It'll be just as bad as the yuan is. And so the yuan will probably be 2% of the index, maybe 3%. Who knows? Maybe they'll put 4% in there. But it's not going to be anything major. And same thing with the currency that will not be named, the ruble. That'll probably be like 6% or 8%. And then what's the other one? The Brazilian real. That'll probably be, if it's 1%, they'll be lucky. If the Brazilian real is 1% of the index. All right. where are we at now? Let's jump over to. We'll finish all this up since there's no trading today. Let's take a look at the Canadian. We saw that it's breaking out of that triangle right there, and that it's insinuating that oil must be going down in values. So let's take a look at the oil market. I'm sure it's trading the oil market today. There it is right there. Yeah, that's today's market. So it's down. And it's off at 75 highs. It's trading at 72 and change. It got as low as that one day of 70.98. So there's some pressure on it. But look at that. It's flirting with the weekly buy, too, at the same time. Now, the back month, September contract, did close in a weekly buy last week. And it's been trapped in this little tight triangle. So Canadian may fall back. Let's see. Where's it at? Let's go back to the Canadian. The Canadian may fall back into the triangle. You know, it might be, it might go something like that. It may get back underneath there and come back down again. We might see that with the Canadian if the dollar kicks up like that. And then let's go over to one of the big bricks, the South African Rand. Right there, the Rand's trading almost hit the 20 mark. They've really buried themselves again. They're just like Turkey. They're burying themselves, doing bad policies government-wise. And because of because of this move from the 18s to almost 20, obviously gold is down overall over the same time period of the last 3 or 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. Let's go see it right there. Yeah, you can see. I mean, no more in the same time period. It was all the way up to, what was that, $2,088, and here we are trading at under $19.50. So it's not a big move, but it's a move, and it's in the same direction as the currency, going down in gold. Let's see. Mountain says, "You are always the villain in someone's story and the hero in yours. This is why my motto." Yeah, I hear you. We used to say, it all comes down to whose ox is gored. That's what it comes down to. All right, and then from gold, let's take a look at silver since we're just kind of stumbling along there. Silver's barely moving. Oh, look at that. It's trying to get. It's trying to get into the buy. That's what it's doing. It's trying to get into the buy today. Was gold trying to get into the buy? Let's go back to that. No. Gold is not trying to get into the buy. And let's go back to silver and fix that chart. It's giving us like Sunday night and Monday, 2 different days in a sense. There we go. That's better. There it is right there. It's trying to climb into the buy today. The weekly is having some issues. It's not there yet. Then let's see if they got copper trading. Copper's closing the daily buy on Friday. It's firm today, or at least unchanged. Let's put it that way. And at the same time, you can see the weekly has been in a weekly sell since the $4 area. Then we go over to platinum. Let's see what the platinum is doing today. You see platinum is trying to climb into the daily buy, but still in the weekly sell. So, and it's been, kind of quiet down in here. Didn't fall down too much. It only dropped about $115 from the 1150 area. And then from there, we go over to, where do we go from there? Oh, we go over to we did the metals. Oh, yeah, and we did look at the gold, oils. You can see that. Let's take a look at nat gas here in the States. See if we're getting a quote on it. Yep. Breaking down again. There's Friday. There is today. In that weekly sell. What is that all about? Yeah. Second week. And I think we showed you what right at the beginning. I was looking at that. Let's go look at the Spanish energy company that we follow. Right there. 26 with 26 and a quarter bids. So it's nice to see it start to back off. And, whoa, what else can we say about any of these things? Let's go with, I guess that's about it, isn't it? Is that it? Stock indices. There's the S&P. S&P is they gapped it up last night because of the agreement. Let's show you on an intraday basis. But you can see here it's still in a daily buy, and it's flirting with, now it's trying to flirt with a weekly sell there. Let's see how that plays out this week. And let's go to, where is it at? Right there. You can see they ran it up high last night from the good news, and it's been down and in a sell ever since that bar. Same thing here. We're in a sell since that bar. All right. And let's see what the Tech 100 looks like, and then we're going to cut out of here. Where's it at? Right there. And right there. There's the Tech 100. Rolling over a little bit, nothing major, and the weekly doesn't seem to be scared whatsoever. All right, traders. This is Doc from North America, and we will catch you tomorrow when all the markets are open. And so, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. All right, traders, have a good and smart day. I'm going to go back to farming. Farmer's life for me. Ta-ta for now. Let's give you a title, too. I got to give you a title. We'll figure out a title. Title. There we go. Let's just kill this. Bye-bye for now. Arrivederci.